Episode 12 of Skip and Loafer, the final episode. We are going to see the confrontation, maybe, who knows, between Sosuke's mom and Ririka, so that's going to be fun. And I assume Ririka's going to see Sosuke's performance and all that, and maybe she might have a change of heart, or maybe not. Who knows? We'll just have to see. If you like the video, like the video. If you dislike it, dislike it. I do have my full length up on Patreon and early access on my YouTube memberships. But other than that, let us get started. Mm-hmm. All right. Oh. She is a model after all. she's wearing slippers. she really got in a hurry, huh? Wait, no, everybody's wearing slippers. I forgot. Wow! Oh, Chris is coming too. Obasan. Oh, she came and accused her of that. Interesting. I mean, since she was Shima's friend, you know, she would kind of know that he, at some point, like, did it for his mom, right? Because his mom came to visit him, and, like, she would see that he was very happy to see her, and, you know, see that she sees him acting and, like, you know, being happy and all that. At least we know Ririka, right? She's gonna fucking say what's on her mind. No respect. Even if, like, it's his mother. The lesser anteater. Lesser anteater. This cute. Oh, wow. Lesser anteater. Oh, middle school friends? Mm. Uh-oh. Chris is just over here like, please, no! Hi, teen. So you are still friends. Uh-oh, uh-oh. If he wants to hide it, he's hiding it! Uh-oh. Secrets out of the bag! Kate's over here just hugging his mom. Aww. She's not gonna watch? Ririka's really out here driving her away. Can somebody please come and get her back? Look at her fucking smiling and everything. She's like, yeah, get fucked, mother. Force Shima to spill his secrets. Yes. She's out here fucking with his life. Oh yeah, I told her off. Ooh! Ooh! She's coming in here for the protection! The mouse comes in between. No. Oh, she's just leaving. Again? Some, I guess. Mm-hmm. Oh, she knows it made you laugh, so... That's right. You'll get there. Look at her saying it. Oh, Ririka's just out here sitting in the back and everything. I was just thinking about, like, what if Ririka is just a heckler? Can I add that song is for myself and not for your mother? Mm-hmm. It's easier to not care about yourself. Well, in a way, she knows who she is. You chose not to talk to him. Oh, we get to see. I was thinking, I'm like, is it a sense of jealousy? A sense of envy? I was thinking, I'm like, of course, Ririka's the only one who's not clapping. Oh, they're standing up and walking away. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can go on it yourself. Oh, to help you move on. Mm-hmm. Forgive me, I want to be happy. That's how she spins it. You're allowed to ask that? Well, at some point, he's just gonna be like, damn, but she's really out here just tossing the word narcissist. Alright, bye, Ririka, bye! Man's really out here killing her with kindness. Chris She's just crying in the car. Oh, she's just getting mad. Okay. Well, that doesn't mean that you can bring him down, though. Yes. Damn. Damn. I mean, it's great and all for all the fucking extroverts. Yeah, man's got flowers. What's he gonna do with that? Toss in the trash, obviously. Oh, is that, Oh. He's expected greatness. Anyway, so he tossed it. He literally tossed it to the trash. Son of a... I fucking hate him. Oh. Yeah, whatever. Oh, another sleepover. The doggo. That's ages away. Ooh!
手伝うことあるかなって。ないない。じゃあさ、明日クラスの片付け早く終わったらそっち手伝うよ。
Alright.
みつみちゃん。なんでもない。また明日。
Just want to get one good look at you again. Metropolitan. So dapper. Oh, he's letting himself enjoy. Might be weirder than I ever imagined. He's finally letting himself enjoy school. I was gonna say food for some reason. Look at that. A fucking smile that doesn't look fake. Wow. That's a fucking painted scenery right there. Wow. Unfortunate that Sosuke's mom couldn't have seen him act. That's like the only thing that I'm like legitimately mad that I'm mad at Ririka about. The fact that she drove him away. And also, it kind of continued to make a little bit more sense if, like, in the way that Ririka accuses his mom of forcing him to act, right? Making him act for her. And it kind of makes me wonder if that's something that he eventually kind of took it upon himself as well, right? Because I had said that, like, maybe he does actually like acting, right? Maybe he initially did it for his mom, but eventually it became a craft that he actually likes. And then after that whole thing happened, right, and he starts going through all his, like, sad period, right? He starts thinking about, like, oh yeah, maybe I was doing it just because of my mom. Well, at least we kind of learn a little bit more with Ririka and how she's like, she was the one who ran to, she was the one who followed him, right? He did say not to go with him to this party, but she went with him anyways, and she ended up taking the fall as well. But I am going to write my notes, and we are going to go back to the center. So can I act as long as it's for myself? I don't get it. Heck, if you asked me to list my favorite foods, I wouldn't know right away. He's been living in people's shadows, but I know exactly what people expect from me. Everyone's happier when I give them what they want. It's easier for me too. Populated. So she said she was doing it for herself, but she wants to be a politician to help her hometown, right? Are we really that different? Oh, I mean, I think I said it during the reaction, right? She knows who she is. Unlike Shima, who doesn't know who he is, right? He's been so busy living under everybody's shadows, specifically Ririka. So, yeah, the whole, if you ever find a goal, is having a goal really that great? Right? The sense of fulfillment, does it never feel like a curse? To which it does, but again, passion. No, that doesn't really matter. What matter is what I want. Is it because I'm so anxious that I feel so attacked when I see people who are passionate about something? It's that feeling of, you know, you're in a bad spot and then you see other people doing way better than you. And you're just like, fuck. Fuck these people, I hate them. So, as he says that, right, in terms of people who are so passionate, they show us Asano. When random girls like me, do I feel uncomfortable because of my lack of confidence? Was I relieved when mom left? Did I want her to watch? Why do I not even know myself? Okay, so then the whole thing with Kanechika is that he sees Kanechika and like the way that he's having such joy in his acting, right? And having people coming up to him and like being like, "Oh, this is your fucking stuff is great," you know, this writing, the script writing of yours, right? The story that you've weaved together, it's fucking amazing. And he felt envious of that, which understandable, which is why he often looks at not often, but his eyes gravitates to Kanichika. Also, Kanichika comes up to him frequently, right? Just, maybe just somewhere, Kanichika just knows that somewhere in there, right? This boy still wants to act again. Alright. So him talking to Ririka. I've been thinking for a while now. I don't think I can ever make up for what I did to you. He says that, what I did to you, but then Ririka in her head. Also, I will say, Ririka went like 100% tsundere this episode. Just immediately goes straight 100% in tsundere, and it's just fantastic. Okay, so, don't think I can ever make it up to you, but I don't want to keep following you down the same self-destructive path. Not anymore, right? He's standing up to her, saying that he's going to live his life, and he's going to help her move on as well, right? Do anything. I promise you that. I'll listen if you're stressed or what. And just the way that he's saying it, right? He's like fucking not looking at her. He's just staring at the ground. Staring at them shoes and everything. So, yeah, you can talk to me, you can even wake me up in the middle of the night. So I'm enjoying school life. It's very funny that it's Skip and Loafer was airing the same time as... Was Skip and Loafer airing the same time as... No, it's not, no, it did not air the same time as Bokuyaba. Did it? Or did it not? I know that it aired the same time as Insomniac After School, but I can't remember if... Was I watching? I don't remember. But it is very fun that, like, this is literally how... not literally, but this is in a way with Shima saying, I'm enjoying school life, right? It ends very much in the same way as Bokuyama. Fun times, dude. Fun times. So, listen to yourself. All I heard was forgive me. I want to be happy. To which, is that really all that bad? Whatever happened to forgive and forget, right? Sometimes you've got to move on too, because if you stay on a place that makes you feel all this angry and all that all the time, maybe you should fucking move on yourself, right? Maybe you should be able to... I don't know what are any other words for move on is right now on the top of my head. But maybe it's time to just move on and live your fucking life. Okay, continuing on with what she's talking about. As if you're allowed to ask for that. He's like, you're not wrong. But that's what I'm asking. I love that. He's like, yeah, maybe I might not be able, I shouldn't have asked this, but I'm asking it anyways, right? So she goes full-on tsundere here. I don't believe you. Narcissist! Both you and your mom! Whatever. Do whatever you want. Yeah. Don't you ever show your face to me again! And then this boy just picks up her hat, and he's just like, thanks. And I love that she's just out here trying to flip him off, and Chris is like, yo, dog, your reputation, you're a model, stop! And then it just cuts to this scene where she's just crying. Even there's like a little bead of sweat on the fucking taxi driver. He's just like, oh shit. So, even I knew it wasn't totally his fault. The whole scandal and losing my job. He told me not to come, but I followed him anyways. That's on me. But it's just not fair. When he's with me, he looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. Well, I mean, you're fucking guilt-tripping him, so like... What do you think, Ririka? It's so much easier for him to be with girls who know nothing. Of course, he'd leave me and pick them. I was so busy that I barely passed middle school. But he gets to go to a top high school and enjoy a stupid festival. So she yells that, right? Chris just comes in and is just like, yeah, but like, yeah, you didn't need a guilt trip about it. Like, shit. He wouldn't have gone anywhere anyways. He's not that kind of guy. Cares more about you than anyone. This guy. He's just over like, God, she just fucking blew all over my Yankee. You didn't even have any work in middle school. It's your own damn fault your grades suck. He's over like, look, you always have me until you fucking blew your snot over my handkerchief and I gotta fucking clean that. Fuck you. I'm exposing you right now. You didn't even have any work in middle school. Your grade just sucks. You're a dumbass. Fantastic, dude. Fantastic. I'm starting to understand, even though he's kind of like not like the black sheep of the family because he comes from a gifted family, he still has that attitude that, oh, hold on, what's happening here? All right, I've got one that I'll show you. Well, actually, no, I've got two examples, so hold on. All right, I've got two examples. The first one that I initially think about is Kiss and White Lily for My Dearest Girl by Kano. It's a Yuri, of course. Almost any manga that I grab out, just know that it's a Yuri. And this character right here, right? She's a genius, and she's in a way, right? She understands that she is a genius and she's different from everyone, so she gets very cocky, and she does, genius things. And I remember when I first read this, I was fine with that, right? I was fine with that. And then I got to this series. It's called, There's No Frickin' Way I'll Be Your Lover, Unless. And this character right here, she's also a gifted, type of character, right? She's good at everything, right? She's got great scores and whatever. And she single-handedly, after a certain chapter, she single-handedly destroyed all reputation for these sort of characters, alright? And so, because of her, it makes this series very difficult for me to read through. It makes it very difficult for me to get through her character, even though before I did enjoy her type of character. But again, single-handedly destroyed these types of characters for me. I do not like them anymore, and I think that's where Kazakami fits under, right? Even if he's like the black sheep of his gifted family, he's still gifted in his own ways, and like the way that his attitude is makes me very angry. Makes me quite upset, and it doesn't help that he's saying that to someone who's fucking crying. Right? And then, like, the first thing that he does when he sees her is he laughs about it. He's just like, seriously? And it's just, stop. If someone's crying, just fucking be like, oh shit, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were crying, I'll leave you alone and let you have some space to cry, whatever. Alright, anyways, anybody who fucking tells someone who's crying to stop crying, or if they laugh at them, I've got beef with them. I've got beef with these people. This motherfucker, even if he tells me his little fucking backstory about he's the black sheep, I still don't fucking like him. In fact, I feel like I hate him even more knowing this. Fuck him. And again, like I said, they gave him some flowers. He was going to toss it to the trash, and honestly, she's in his mind, she's probably might as well just be right next to the fucking trash can. Alright, that's just my personal... that's just my own little personal thoughts. Alright, so that was episode 12 of Skip and Loafer. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. You know that I always like talking to you guys. For me, I thought that this was a pretty good finale for Shima. I'm going back to calling him Shima now. Mom's out of the picture. I'm going back to calling him Shima. Even though I wrote Sosuke in the notes. Shit. Anyways. God, okay, so in terms of all of the whole festival stuff, I don't really care much about it. They also don't really show us. I mean, they kind of showed us like a bit of the story of the play, so they don't really need us to show the entire thing. So that's totally fine. So like the whole play stuff, the whole school festival stuff, it's whatever, right? You see that in every slice of life anime at this point. In every single fucking finale. Or it starts at episode 7, somewhere around there. So, it's just there. It's whatever. Don't really care much for it, right? It's just there to help us with the climatic finale and everything. So, moving that all the way, I've already said my piece about Kazakami. Fuck that guy. I hate him. So let's move that away too. So let's talk about Ririka instead. Oh my god, Ririka, she... I think I said at some point, right, that Ririka perhaps I had wondered that Ririka might enjoy, or as I wrote it, she gets off on it, right, the power that she has over Sosuke. Even if maybe she might not notice it, but from the way that she does it, she definitely notices it. She definitely gets off on having that dynamic with him. Even though she later on cries about how like, oh, every time he's with me, it looks like he'd rather be anywhere else but here. And it's just like, what do you think, Ririka? What do you think he'd rather be anywhere else but here? Anyways, so, like, we have that short encounter between her and Sosuke's mom, and she accuses Sosuke of, forcing him to act, right? And she drives his mom away, because his mom is just like, oh shit, I don't want to be here with Ririka, she's out here accusing me of this again. Have no time for that, my kid's here, I don't want her to be near Ririka. Time to get on out of here. Actually, there's something else that I feel like I've forgotten. She said, what the hell are you doing here? There might have been something else that she had said, like, oh, you're trying to keep me away from... Well, she's just saying you've both grown so much, and then you're still in touch with Sosuke. And she's like, oh, this is rich. You haven't changed at all. It's obvious you don't want me anywhere near him. Okay. Alright. Yeah, she's, you know, maybe it's a little bit of a projection, but yeah, Ririka, as I said, she went 100% tsundere this episode. And despite me enjoying tsunderes, I still get upset if they do certain actions, and in this case, I am upset that she basically drove her mom away. Unfortunate. And then she goes and since like the middle school friends are here, just by her being here, she got these she got these peons from middle school to expose Shima's secret, and I think Mitsumi had looked at Ririka and she's just like, wow, why does she looks like she's enjoying this, right? She's got that little smile on her. It's right, it's that dynamic, right? It's like, hey, the secret that you've been keeping, fuck you, I'm gonna reveal it to everyone. Your mom is here, fuck you, I'm gonna drive her away. Toxic AF. But Yuri fans, what have we learned from all of the Yuri that we've read, especially all the fucking Korean webtoons specifically? I don't know why it's specifically Korean webtoons, but you know, we love our toxic queens and all that. I think I don't know. I don't know. I'm just following what people say. But yeah, she does all that. She gets some pleasure out of it, and as she goes and confronts, not confronts, but you know, she's talking to Shima and all that, and as she and like Shima is obviously uncomfortable about anything. And she says you should be glad if anything. And then we have Mitsumi, right, coming in to defend and also to show her superiority, putting her hands up to look bigger. And Ririka, very surprised, and she sees that this girl that initially she realized that this must be like Sosuke's favorite girl or whatever, and she sees that Sosuke is out here having a genuine laugh to this girl who according to Ririka, knows nothing about him. Which, you know, maybe she should realize that someone who does not know anything about the other person, does not know anything about their past, they might be able to see them for who they are now instead of who they were before. Just saying, Ririka, why do you think people go to therapists? I mean, Japan's not really good about the mental health thing, so you probably don't know about it. But why do people go to therapists? It's because these people don't know who they are, alright? And they can say basically anything they fucking want, and the therapist will be there to be like, yeah, you're doing great, or you know, maybe you should change that, or whatever, right? So, yeah, it's whatever, right? It's whatever. And, well, later on, we got to see him, well, actually, this is also concerning Sosuke as well. Shima. Going back to calling him Shima, just because Sosuke has like 2 S's, and I've got a fucking lisp, and I have no time for saying Sosuke. So, during this whole act, the play stuff, Shima's thinking about himself, right? He's thinking about, well, where he's been so used to putting that mask on that he doesn't even know who he is, because he's so used to playing a role that everybody wants him to play, right? He doesn't know who he is, and he thinks about, like, can I really act for myself? Because as he was thinking, with what Chris told him, what Ririka said to his mom, right? Oh yeah, he's like, I did do this because of my mom. But it eventually came to the point where I would assume he likes acting, and he comes to the conclusion towards the end of all that, as he realizes with Kanichika, and also even the way that he sees Mitsumi, right? He feels envious of these people, that they're able to fulfill their dreams and do their passion, while he's over here stuck in his little sandbox with Ririka. So eventually he goes and he talks to Ririka, right? He tells her, hey, I'm sorry for the things that I've done to you. I know that I can't make it up to you, but I'm here I am asking for your forgiveness. And I love that Ririka is fighting back, and she's like, you think that you can ask for my forgiveness after the fucking shit that you've done? He's like, yeah, I know it's wrong, but I'm asking you for it anyways. And it's just so nice. It's like, here's Ririka just constantly guilt tripping him, which is something that Chris even says, like, dude, you're fucking guilt tripping him. And so I love that even though she's putting on that act again and she's doing it, right? Shima just goes and he's like, yeah, I know, but I'm asking for it anyways. And I love it that he's finally getting past that hurdle that is Ririka. And that he tells her, hey, dude, I'm finally enjoying my school life. And that's something that Ririka does not want him to do, right? You've caused me so much pain. How dare you try and have a good school life? How dare you try to have fun in your school life when you are the one who've caused me this much pain? And And I love that he admits to her too during this time. Like he says, like, "Hey, I'm gonna get off of this self-destructive path with it that I've been following you along with." And in his infinite kindness and all that, he says, "I want to help you as well, right? I want to help you move on from this fucking trauma that you have, right? I'm moving on, but he's not moving on without her, right? He's willing to help her." And it's that infinite kindness. And, you know, they're in high school and all that. And if you have never watched my Boku Yaba, especially during this one time where I was talking about my philosophy and all that, you know, I believe in change. And these are young people. And young people can definitely change, right? We're all fucking stupid back in school, right? When we were kids and all that, right? If you, as an adult now, if you're still a teenager or whatever, you know, maybe you could try and think about how you were in elementary. Maybe you can spot a difference between you and your high schooler self or whatever, right? But if you're an adult, you're over the age of 25 or whatever, and you think 10 years ago, back when you were in high school, you probably think to yourself, God, I was fucking dumb. I was fucking stupid. Especially if you had, like, a presence on the internet, and you're able to look at how you were. I mean, God, dude, it's awful, dude. Look, I lived on the internet ever since I was a kid, so I have a lot of I have a lot of footprint on the internet, and I'm able to just find things from like 2008 and stuff, and like see how I used to write, see how my attitude used to be, and I'm like, wow, this is awful. I can even still, like, I have videos from 2016, and like I look at those videos and I'm like, who the fuck is this person, right? They're very different from who I am right now. And so that's what I believe that you can change. And especially, they're like 15 right now, right? 10 years from now, they're going to be very different people. And that's, you know, that is certainly all I want for Ririka, is that I want her to change. I want her to come to the acceptance of Shima's help, right? I want her to come to the acceptance of even Chris, right? Chris, who's been here for her. Chris, the guy who just straight up tells her that she's a fucking dumbass. he says what's up, dude. But that's really all I hope for Ririka, that she's willing and able to move on and actually have I don't know, an actual healthy relationship. You know, a healthy relationship that they once had when they were co-starring in that show. And all I can say is that if she doesn't change, right? If we were to see it in the manga and whatever, if she is not willing to change and she's willing to continue to stay on this self-destructive path, you know, and especially if she becomes an adult and she's willing to continue down that path, that's her choice, you know? And there's no need to try and help her, because she, at that point, is an adult and can make her own decision. And that's all I'm gonna say, you know, as a person who is an old person now. an old one. All I can say is that, you know, if you've got friends who's in a bad spot, maybe they're a little toxic, and you want to try and help them out, and you try to give them help, and they just refuse help all the fucking time, it's time for you to move on and find some other friends. I don't know why, me talking about this reminds me of the ending of A Silent Voice, not the movie, but the manga, and I personally don't like the ending of A Silent Voice, and other than it being open-ended, but in the ways that it feels like it kinda, the theme of it felt like the idea of forgive and forget, and I don't really agree with that. The whole idea of forgive and forget. For some things, understandable, right? Forgive and forget. But if there are things that's like really bad, I feel like you can forgive them, but let's not forget about it, and let's not be friends anymore, right? Let's just move on with our lives. We've buried the hatchet, and we're going to move on and go separate ways. And that's how I felt should have been with A Silent Voice, but whatever. God, I'm really out here just talking about several other things. But that's basically, well, I mean, other than, you know, Ririka crying and talking about how, like, she knows that it wasn't all his fault, and that she was the one who followed him, and she was the one who essentially got herself into this drama in the first place. So, yeah, at least she kind of knows that, but she was she was going for a very soon, and like there's no DERE in between, it's all soon. This is the issue, Ririka. You need to hit us with the DERE. I mean, it's not really a DERE when she was crying, but like, you needed to hit us with the DERE eventually. You can't just give us all the soon all the time. But yeah, she was crying about how she was, about how upset she was, about how the world is not fair, essentially. Right? It's not fair. It's not fair that he gets to enjoy his school life after all that's happened with us. It's not fair at all. And it's like, well, yeah, it's not fair because you don't want to move on. But I did mention with Ririka that it's harder for her to move on, unlike Shima, right? Shima is able to move on because he quit his his acting career, And he doesn't have to be on the internet. He doesn't have to follow and talk to with all the other adults and business people, right? Well, Ririka continued to do her job, and of course she's going to have to think about her image all the time. Even Chris was there, right? When she was trying to flip him off, and Chris stops her from it. It was like, hey, you're a model. You need to stop doing these things, right? She has to watch her words, and so it's going to be more difficult for her to move on, but it's still possible, right? The chance is still possible. We did see towards the end of this where we see Shima just coming on over, asking her, like, hey, you need help? And then she's like, even though she's like, oh, it's just a meeting, right? He still goes and he's like, oh, well, do you need help with the cleanup tomorrow? And I love that as she leaves, right? He calls her back again just to see her once more. And during this time, we actually get to see his genuine smile, right? The smile that he's able to give now that he's accepting that he enjoys school life, and that, you know, perhaps he does enjoy acting as well. Fun times. And we did get that whole thing from Mitsumi where she's like, oh, he seems a lot more childlike, right? He's willing and able to be more childlike now that he's not putting on that mask anymore. Well, actually, in the way that Mitsumi says, oh, he's a lot more childlike now, it's because that's who he really is, right? And she's like, oh, he might be a little bit more weird than I thought. He might be weirder than I thought. And it's like where we're finally getting to see the real him and not the person that he thinks everybody else wants him as. There's also this one spot that I enjoy from Mitsumi where she's thinking about childhood friends, right? Oh, wow, these people. The power of childhood friends, or the deep relationship between childhood friends, right? You've spent so much time together, whether it's good or bad, right? It's the same relationship that she shares with Fumi. And I love that, even though she's like, hey, you know, they've got an advantage by being with him ever since he was a kid, but I hope that eventually I will be on the same level as them. And I love that, right? I feel like a lot of people feel like, oh man, I'll never be up to these people's level. They're a little bit too, you know, too groupy. They're a little too close for me, and I feel like I'll never be able to butt in between them or join their group or whatever because they're so tightly knit, right? Feel a little intimidating, and I love that Mitsumi acknowledges that this is perhaps a tight-knit crew, just like her and Fumi, but she hopes that she's able to join and be on their level as well. So I very much enjoy that part. Everything else, it was there. It was certainly there. And so that concludes my my discussion for this episode. And now I'm going to talk about how I feel how I feel about this show in general. All right. When it first started, I definitely I definitely was enjoying it, and I, as I said, I had initially thought that it was a shoujo because it felt very much like a shoujo-esque, but in the end it was actually a seinen this whole time. And honestly, the whole I think, yeah, it's a seinen. And like the whole seinen feel kind of comes in like the last half, I feel. But yeah, I enjoyed the episodes. I really like Mitsumi's little journey as well. The thing is that I felt like once we started hitting the halfway point, it started veering towards the Shima show. Literally, we started just getting more and more about Shima instead. And you know, we started getting more about his life, and it kind of gets to the point where I sort of felt like Mitsumi was taking a bit of a break in the background for a little bit, but I also kind of get that Mitsumi has already climbed up the ladder, and like she's currently doing what she wants right now. There really isn't a big hurdle for her to jump over from what I see, right? She got into the student council as she wanted, and so she's doing that job. She's doing what she can in order to go to Tokyo U and become a lawyer and whatever, and become a politician eventually. And she's kind of on that smooth path right now, and there really isn't a big hurdle for us to jump over. And I understand that if it was just kind of like that, maybe there really isn't a lot of things for them to grasp the audience with, and so we needed to have Shima here because Shima is the one with the fucking hurdle that he needs to jump over, right? He's got that big hurdle that is Ririka. And he jumped over it in the last episode, so good for him, right? So we needed that hurdle, and that was Shima, and Shima. As a love interest, right? As like this being like a romance, even though we really didn't see any romance. Honestly, this is just a slice of life at this point. The only sort of romance aspect that we got Mitsumi, who kind of realized it a little bit, but she hasn't really done anything because she's a little busy with other work. And of course, again, we're on the Shima show. And everything. And I know that I just said that she's been on she's taken a break for the Shima show, but she still is a very important piece for Shima, right? And that's why it also helps him to be able to jump over that hurdle that is Ririka yet again. But Shima, all right, knowing that this is like a romance or something, and like having, I assume, right, that he is the male lead, that he is the love interest for Mitsumi, and as a love interest, I don't care for him. I do not give a single fucking shit about him as a love interest. Like, once they actually enter with, like, the romance thing, maybe I might be like, oh, wow, that's pretty nice. But other than that, I'm probably just gonna be like, whatever. But as we start getting more into his storyline, and me starting to think, like, oh, maybe he is a little bit like me. I don't know, right? Maybe he is a little bit like me. And in some sense, he is a little bit like me. But then as we started getting more and more of the reveal of, like, his parents and everything, and I'm just like, oh, he actually doesn't have a good parent, a bad parent relationship. He's just willing to, he's just willing to put a wall in between him and his family, right? And to which, I guess I can relate in a sense, but like, as we continued on with the Shima show, like, I kind of was, I was, like, kind of gripped with the Shima show for a bit, but eventually, I kind of started thinking about, like, I don't know, I just wanted the Shima show to be over. I did like Ririka, though. It's very fun. But I just kind of like, I was just like, oh, like, now that we're done with that, and like Shima's like being able to be himself now, I'm just like, oh, thank God we're out of that Shima show for now. It all kind of follows the whole thing of me saying that I don't care much for him as a love interest, and so even though I do like his story and all that, I just some part of me that just can't care enough. But as I said, I was invested in his story and all that, but thank God it's fucking over. And there's like what is it, with like all the other characters as well. We did get some good story. We did get some good time with Mika, right, in the first half, right? It was a little bit more focused on, not a little bit more, but we were also just slightly more focused on Mika. First half, I think Heat and Complications, is that what it is episode 8. Mika was still there as well. So Mika has gotten a good amount of screen time as well, but again, the Shima show really comes in heavy, and it just puts more focus on Shima himself, and also Mitsumi, because Mitsumi's the main character, but a lot of things that she does is just kind of there. And the progress that we get is from Shima himself. So in terms of all the other characters, and especially like some of the characters that we see in the opening, alright, I remember when I first started the episode, the series, I initially thought like, oh, we get to see all these characters, and maybe we get to see, go through a little bit of their backstory or something, right? It kind of felt like that, like in episode 1 to 3, where it's like they introduced us to, they introduced us to Mika, and then they introduced us to Yuzuki, and then they introduced us to, well, I mean, they showed us Yuzuki as well, and then they introduced us to Makoto, and I was like, oh, that's pretty fun, right? Maybe we'll get to see more of them eventually, and then Makoto is, she's just, Yuzuki and Makoto are just like, they're just in the background once like their episode was over, and I'm just like, well, that sucks. And then there's like, and then there was like Mukai, who I initially thought might also get a little bit more as well. And then there's Yamada, or Yamada Kento, right, the blonde kid, who I thought was going to get a little bit more screen time again, just because from what I see in the opening, and like, what is it, from what I see in the opening, and like, I expected them to maybe have some sort of, you know, stuff as well, but then I guess it's kind of appropriate that, because it's the group between Shima and you know, the boys and all that, and Shima being the way that he probably isn't here to have some close group relation with these boys, unlike Mitsumi, who's actively trying to know her friends better. So that's understandable. A little disappointing, but that's understandable. And I mean, it still goes with Yuzuki and Makoto as well. Disappointing, but it's whatever. I guess that's a slight grip on why I don't like the Shima show as much, is because he takes over. Albeit, I was very much surprised to see the what is she? She's the vice president now of the student council. I was very surprised to see her a lot more than I had expected. But in terms of setting and where Mitsumi is, it's understandable that we get to see her more, because she's going to be a part of the student council, and, you know, the girl that she looks up. And of course, she's also a foil to Mitsumi as well, which I thought was very nice. So yeah, I was very surprised that she got a lot more screen time than the other characters like Yuzuki and Makoto. But again, like, when I think about it, it makes sense. Right, it makes sense. It makes a lot more sense that the vice president... Hold on, let me go find her name before I just keep calling her the vice president. Takamine, that's her name. So yeah, it makes much more sense for Takamine to have more screen time, because she's someone that Mitsumi looks up, and again, she's part of the student council and all that. Understandable. And then there's Kanichika as well, who I also hadn't really expected to get quite a lot of screen time. I feel like he does kind of get... I don't know, maybe he might have gotten a little bit more screen time than Yuzuki and Makoto. But again, I from seeing it overall, I understand why he's there, and like, I'm not really complaining that Kanichika or Takamine is getting the screen time and all that, because it makes it's very understandable why they're there, and I do like them overall, right? With Takamine kind of being like that foil for Mitsumi, and Kanichika being that foil for Shima. So understandable that they also get their screen time as well. You know, again, in terms of story-wise, I think it's very appropriate in the way that they've set everything. Again, I just got really tired of the Shima show eventually, and I was just like, whatever. But I was still invested, but in the end, I have very mixed feelings about it, but I think it's more good than bad. And, you know, for everything else, like, I thought the animation was great. I really like the art style. I really love the color palette. Again. It really gives me memories of just shoujo. So I thought that was very fun. I also enjoy the idea of, like, this is how we get shoujo anime, by just disguising it as a seinen. This is the only way that we can get sequels, because shoujos, man, they rarely get fucking sequels, and if they do, they rarely get season 3. But I also enjoy, like, the music as well, so there's all that. I feel like I have other things that I wanted to talk about, but I might just write it in the description if I don't remember it at the top of my head. But in terms of, on the top of my head, if I were to give a rating for this show, you know, it kind of teeters on like a 7 and an 8. Like, if we had a little bit less of the Shima show, I might consider it an 8. But because that we had the Shima show, I kind of consider it at a 7. But if I could put it in the middle and just put it as a 7.5 out of 10, I think that's where it would be. Unfortunately, I can't do that on my anime list, so I'll just have to go with the lowest rating, and then, you know, I'll figure out whether I want to change that later on. I forgot to talk about Nao as well, but I do like Nao as well. I love that she's here to represent the trans... I was gonna say the trans folk. But yeah, she's just out here to represent these people, you know, to let you know that they are indeed people. And I love that now was willing to, despite her, you know, considering herself the way that she is, she understands how Japan is, and so she introduces herself as like her actual, her biological gender, or biological sex. I mean. So I thought that was very interesting as well. I'm looking at my character list, and so I wrote down Hanazono Sakura, who is the homeroom teacher of class 3. And I remember seeing her in like the first 2-3 episodes, somewhere around there, and then she just vanished. Gone. Maybe we'd have seen her from time to time, but I just can't remember, just because it's so sparse after that. Now I'm just over here like, why did I even write this name for? But that's pretty much it. I've rambled for too long now, and I've lost my train of thought, so I'm just going to end it here now. So thank you guys for being here. I totally forgot to say that in the beginning. Thank you guys for sticking around, especially if you've come and watched the whole series. I really appreciate you. And if I don't see you in the next series that I'm doing, then I will see you when I see you.